I want to talk to you today about God's pet peeve, because that's worth knowing about. We're studying together the Sermon on the Mount, greatest teaching of all time from the greatest teacher who ever lived, Jesus. We all have pet peeves. I have one friend who's very, very rational, and his pet peeve is when people give into ill logic. So if you say around him, I literally hit the ceiling, you better have climbed up a ladder, got a hammer out, and pounded on what's up there. Or if somebody says, my head literally exploded, if there's not shards of brain laying around the room, you're going to be in trouble with my very rational friend. I know well somebody else who loves order and beauty, and so their pet peeve is when cupboards and drawers are carelessly left open. And that's unfortunate. I never leave things open, but sometimes things spontaneously open in our cabana, and that's kind of sad. Currently, for me, it's fobs. I hate fobs. They're expensive. You got to get them reprogrammed. You don't get to ask, like, how come I can't just have a key that works? If you go surfing and you have a fob, you can't hide it any place. You can't even hide it under the car, because if it's around the car and somebody tries to open it, it'll open up automatically and it'll get started. Nobody asks about that. You don't get to choose. Anyway, I digress. What's God's pet peeve? Is a writer named Walker Moore, I believe is his name. And he poses that question. God loves everything he created, so when we pollute the skies or harm the earth, that bothers God. God loves all of his creatures, and so when we mistreat an animal, when we don't care for a pet that we're responsible for, we allow a species to go extinct through our carelessness, then that wounds the heart of God. But the Bible actually talks about what bothers God the most, what most gets under his skin or on his nerves. And it's all over the Bible, but one of the places where you can read about it is in Proverbs chapter 6. There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him. Haughty eyes. When you look down on people, when somebody's at a restaurant and there's a member of the wait staff and the person at the table kind of doesn't even notice them, doesn't recognize their humanity, treats them as though they're someone less than. A lying tongue. I know what that's like. Hands that shed innocent blood. A heart that devises wicked schemes. My heart does that. Feet that are quick to rush into evil. My feet have done that. A false witness who pours out lies. And then a person who stirs up conflict in the community. Now, in the ancient world, in Israel, when there would be a format like that, 6 things the Lord detests, 7 things that God hates, the idea is not that the writer has had a sudden realization that there's an additional item. It's a way of emphasizing the last thing. So the final item on that list is to disrupt shalom, to bring damage to what matters most to God, which is the community of human beings that are made in his image. What really bothers God the most is when we mistreat the people that he loves, when we demean them, when we hurt them, when we betray them, when we mistreat them, when we belittle them, when we allow them to experience suffering and we could help and could make a difference, but we don't do it. That bothers God more. That's at the top of God's list. All of the teachings of the law and the prophet were around Israel. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the main way you show that is love your neighbor as yourself. And now when we come to Jesus' teachings, the Sermon on the Mount is a summary of that. And then, as we have seen, he's going to summarize the Sermon on the Mount in an even briefer statement. And it is, so, in everything, do to other people whatever you would have other people do to you, for this summarizes the law and the prophets. I want to say more about the brilliance of the golden rule. And I have written some of this stuff out. Sometimes it helps me to get thoughts clear, so forgive me, please. I will not try to pretend like I'm not actually reading some of this stuff. I actually will. Part of what I love about this is discipleship for everybody. Whether you believe in God or not, whether you call yourself a Christian or not, the golden rule, do to others what you would have others do to you, for you, is enough to keep you busy today, all day long, and every day for the rest of your life. Part of the genius of the golden rule is that it turns around the way that we think about our life. Very often the question that we'll ask is, how did your day go? And we think about our day in terms of, what happened to me? What circumstances befell me? Did good things happen to me? The golden rule says, no. It's not about what happened to you today. It's what happened to your day because of you. What did you bring to your day? What did you do to other people? Not how did they treat you? So the golden rule is tremendously empowering. You can use it on people you like. You can use it on people that you don't like. You will discover, oddly enough, that if you begin to use it on people that you don't like, you will begin to like them more. You can use it while you're driving the car. You can use it when you're texting. You can use it by not texting when you're actually driving a car. You can use it with people of different personality types. I'm an introvert, so often it will feel to me like, man, if I can have some space and some time to think and be able to process and not be interrupted, I would like that. But then if I'm with somebody who's an extrovert, they're going to want something quite different than that. And applying the golden rule actually causes me to think more about that other person and what is it that they want and how would I want to be treated if I were them. Martin Luther, the great reformer, put it like this about the golden rule. It was certainly clever of Christ to state it this way. And I love thinking about the cleverness of Jesus. Dallas Willard will often talk about that. It's fun to see that same thought in Martin Luther and others. The only example he sets up, Luther goes on, is ourselves. It's so clear you don't need glasses to understand Moses and the law. Thus, you are your own Bible, your own teacher, your own theologian, your own preacher. You just think about what would you like to have done to you, and then put yourself in the place of the other person. In the golden rule, I place the other person on a par with myself. I don't think of them any longer as something to be used so that I can get what I want from them. I try to ask myself, what would it be like to be that person's age, to have had their experience, to have their temperament, to have their wounds? I'll give you one little picture of golden rule practice, and then we'll talk about this more in the next video. A while ago, it was a Friday, and that was my day off, and so I thought, I'm going to just make it a golden rule day. I will try to do the golden rule today each time that I think about it. I got an early start. My wife was having to go someplace, and so her alarm was set, and it went off at 4 o'clock in the morning because she had to catch a flight. And my first thought was, I don't want to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But then I thought the golden rule, what would I want for my spouse to do if I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning? Would I enjoy it if they got up with me? He's like, yeah, I think I would. I could do that. So I did, and we sat and had breakfast together. And then Nancy said, I'm going to go to the bathroom and get dressed and put my makeup on, and you can come over and talk to me if you want to. And initially, often in a moment like that, my thought will be, well, I could read something, so I'll probably do that. But then I thought, if I was going to go and just do those kind of morning chores, and I could have somebody come and sit with me and chat with me, I'd like that, to be kept company. So I did. And I thought again, now I tend to be more of an introvert. Somebody said once, when you're an introvert, you tend to wake up with lots of energy. Introverts get energized by being alone. Extroverts get energized by being with people. So in the morning, if you're an introvert, your energy balloon is real full because you've had all that time of solitude. But if you're an extrovert, often your balloon's kind of deflated by that point. And so my wife is an extrovert, and her balloon's deflated. If my balloon was deflated, I'd want somebody to fill it up. I can go and talk with her. And then she went to the airport. And a couple hours later, I got a text from her. Classic mistake. We both do this kind of thing. She was flying out of San Francisco, so of course she parked her car there, but she'd forgotten that because of where she was going, she would have to fly back into San Jose, and that meant she would have to Uber all the way back up to San Francisco when she got in to get her car. But this was Golden Rule Friday. When I got that, I thought, you know what? They have Ubers and Lyfts just for such a thing. This is my day off. I could go up to the airport and get that car and bring it back home so that she would not have to. And it's such a small thing. But so often I don't do that. So that's just one tiny little picture of one little snippet of one day. And I say that not because I'm so good at doing it, but just precisely because I so often don't do it. That seeking to live with that thought made a dramatic difference in my day. And therefore, we don't seek to do it on our own. We are seeking the kingdom. We are looking for God. We are listening to God. And that's the prayer today. My prayer for you is that you will pray this prayer. God, help me to make this a golden rule day.
If you enjoyed that teaching, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes in this series, Insurmountable, which is all about Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. You can also head over to our website, becomenew.com, where we have over 700 10-minute teachings, all dedicated to helping you grow spiritually one day at a time. My name's Tim, and I'm a part of the team here at Become New. Heyo. Just want you to know this is so much more than a YouTube channel. It's really a community of people who are brought together not by our strengths or our ability to achieve, but by our weaknesses and our need for help from God. So we're glad that you're here. If you have a prayer request, there's a group of us who meet each weekday, Monday through Friday, to pray for viewers just like you. So you can send us your request to the number 855-888-0444. We'd love to pray for you. We're glad that you're here. We'll catch you next time.